Have you ever wanted to fit into a certain group? I remember growing up in high school, I was really into breakdancing and I wanted to fit into that culture so bad. I remember my haircut had to look a certain way. I had to dress a certain way. I remember dragging my mom all the way over to the specific store where all the other breakdancers got the exact pair of joggers to make sure that I really fit into the group and I felt like I was a part of something. This is something that we all experience. Every one of us has this desire to be a part of a certain culture, and maybe even multiple different kinds of culture. We can even see this within Christianity itself. We have things like Christian books, Christian movies, Christian schools, Christian music. Now, of course, there's not a problem with all of these things. However, as Christians, if we're not careful, we can easily start to live the way that we want or the way that we desire and not live our lives according to what God says in His Word. It's okay to be a part of a culture. But we have to remind ourselves how we live should not be based off of how we feel or what we desire, but based off of what the Word of God says. In John chapter 17, verse 15, Jesus is praying to His Father concerning His disciples. And He says this, "I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but you should keep them from the evil one." You see, it's very important that we as Christians understand that God is not asking us that we would be alienated from the world. God is just asking that we wouldn't be given into the evil one or given into what the world believes. Oftentimes as Christians, it's easy for us to get this mindset that we have to be completely disconnected from the world, that in order to live a Christian lifestyle or in order to be set apart, we can't talk to people that don't agree with us. We can't talk to people that don't believe the way that we believe. And it's very easy for us to become bubbled and almost set apart or removed from the rest of the world. But Jesus is saying quite the opposite here. He's saying, "I pray that you do not take them out of the world, but that you keep them from the evil one." There's a certain balance that we have to walk, knowing that we are called to be in the world, but not made of it. In verse 16, Jesus goes on to say, "They are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. Sanctify them by your truth. Your word is truth." So yes, we're not supposed to be taken out of the world, but we're not supposed to be made of it either. We have to make sure that although we're loving and we're partaking in different cultures or different groups of people, that we maintain sanctification, which is truly being set apart and not giving into what the world says is okay and not believing or being influenced by those cultures or by those groups themselves, but making sure that we're sanctified, which means to be set apart by the Word of God. God does not want us to be separated from the world. He wants us to be sanctified from the world. That's a very big difference. We're not supposed to be alienated or pushed away from the world. God's just calling us to be sanctified and different based off of His word. And lastly, in verse 18, it says, "As you sent me into the world, I also have sent them into the world." And the key is that God is sending us into the world. We can't view our walk with Christ and Christianity as something that's separated or different or even pushed away from the world. If we want to impact the world, we have to be able to confidently be sent in, not wavering, not looking to the left, not looking to the right, not being influenced what's around us, but be able to be sent in with a mission. And that mission is that we would allow our light to shine before men, that people would see the salt and light that we carry, that we would have a word, that we would have hope, that we would have truth for them, that we could truly change and impact our world around us if we know that we have not been created to be out of the world. We haven't been created to become of the world. You have been created to be sent in.